How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Week 10 prediction video. So last week, we actually had a lead change. I went 9-5, Gunnar went 6-8, which brings the season total to 87-49 on my end, and then 86-50 on Gunnar's end. So we had a lead change going into Week 10, but it's only by one game, so anything can happen. Speaking of games, we got a nice slate of games this week, starting off with, oh my god, this is such a bad game. The Carolina Panthers versus the Chicago Bears. You remember that cripple fight episode of South Park? That's what this game is. Two terrible teams. Tyson Bagent is going to be starting again this week. I like him. He's not starting caliber. Bryce Young has been consistently playing bad. I don't like either of these teams at all. It's going to be impossible to pick one just because I really don't care about this game. So I'm going to pick the Chicago Bears. Gunnar, who do you have?
I'm taking the Bears over the Panthers.
Yep, that seems like a pretty forgettable game. All right, next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking on the New England Patriots. The Patriots, not a good team. The Colts still struggling to find their identity, but they're keeping up with other teams in the NFL right now. I like Gardner Minshew as a quarterback. They were able to take care of, who did they play last week? Carolina. Super easy game, I know, but they destroyed them. The Belichick defense is good. They are missing key pieces again. Mac Jones went back to his old self, and I know they're missing Kedrick Bourne, one of their wide receivers, to IR. So give me the Indianapolis Colts. Gunnar, who do you have?
I'm also taking the Colts in this one. Patriots just suck. Bill Belichick could get fired. This game is also in Germany.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my god! Oh, that's right, it is. Okay, so that's a Sunday morning game. My bad. Sorry, guys. All right, next up, we have a huge game in terms of divisional standings between the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. At the time we're recording this video, every single team from the AFC North is in the playoff picture right now, which is crazy. The Browns have some reinforcements now with Deshaun Watson coming back as quarterback. Their defense has continuously played well. Baltimore kicking the snot out of Seattle last week in a game that we thought was going to be close because they were both good teams. The Ravens, I feel like no one's really talking about how great they are. They're the best team in this division. Give me the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm also taking the Ravens. Deshaun Watson's off the injury report, so I know he played last week, but he's off.
Well, now he's good and healthy. All right. Next up, we have the Houston Texans taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals beat the Bills in primetime last week. Everything looked good there. Their defense continues to play amazing. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and their whole offense is getting up back to speed. Unfortunately, they are facing some injuries. I know Jamar Chase didn't practice on Wednesday.
Same with T. Higgins.
And T. Higgins is also injured. The Texans, CJ Stroud literally had the best game of his career last week. I mean, it was 470 passing yards, five touchdowns. I mean, like, the dude's unstoppable. They might have found their guy. Carolina Panthers fans are crying right now that they didn't get their guy. At the end of the day, though, Cincinnati's a better team, so I'm picking Cincy to win this. But I love what I'm seeing from Stroud this year. Give me Cincy.
I'm also taking Cincinnati.
Awesome. All right, next up, this is an interesting game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The 49ers have been in a huge skid. They've lost 3 games in a row, but they've been on bye week. Brock Purdy was farming in his free time. Not like that matters. This team needs to get back in it. Deebo Samuel slowly starting to come back up to not being injured anymore. Jacksonville, they've been a sneaky good team too this year. I think they only have 2 losses. They were on bye week 2 last week, if I'm not mistaken. They were. Yeah, Jacksonville. Both these teams were on bye last week. If we're looking at which team I think is better, I still think San Francisco is a better team. Jacksonville's offense has a lot of difficulty with turning the ball over recently this year, and I think San Francisco's defense is going to capitalize off of that. Give me the Niners in this one.
I want to say Jacksonville, but there's no way the Niners lose 4 in a row, so give me the Niners.
And we said the same thing about Tampa, and now look at us now. All right, we have the Minnesota, Jesus. The New Orleans Saints taking on the Minnesota Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs waltzed in last week and just won the game without barely being on the team. I think he was there for 4 days. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. This is a Saints team who has been, well, they haven't been playing good teams recently. Their offense has still been playing well. I love Rashid Shaheed this season. I got the Saints in this one. Gunnar, who do you have?
Michael Thomas is still healthy, so give me the Saints.
I know, that's always a good bet. All right, next up we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Packers actually had a good game last week, and I know they're playing against Brett Rippon on the Rams and not Matt Stafford. They still won. They won by a decent margin. Good for them. This is a team that's been riddled with injuries. Their offense is bad, but when you give Aaron Jones the ball, good things happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers won last week over the Tennessee Titans. Their defense continues to carry them. Kenny Pickett is terrible for the first 3 quarters, like always. And for once, George Pickens wasn't the one who bailed them out. It was Deontay Johnson.
Yeah,
He finally
catch.
scored a touchdown
Yeah.
in like 3 years. It was
George
awesome.
Pickens was 1 catch, -2 yards, so
Yeah, it's crazy.
helping out his team.
See, they actually have weapons. I guess Matt Canada being on the field or down there is a good thing. So give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm taking my upset of the week. I'm picking the Packers over the Steelers. Steelers are due for a loss.
Gunner's picking the Steelers. I don't know how they've won this many games so far. It's honestly beyond me. All right, next up, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like Will Levis. He is now the starter. I don't know if Ryan Tannehill's still injured, but he's officially the backup now.
Oh, no, they said Will Levis moving forwards is the starter the rest of the season.
Let's go. So the Mayo Man, this is his team. They did lose last week to the Steelers, but I feel like the more time Will Levis spends on the offense, I think they're going to get better. The Buccaneers, they lost to the Texans when they were winning at the end, but they allowed C.J. Stroud to come back. They've lost 5 games in a row. That is really bad. They had such a hot start to the season. It has not continued. I don't even really know what it is. They're just letting teams win. Like, they're not playing to what they should be. So, that being said, though, I think Tampa Bay still wins this week because I think Tennessee still has to work out a couple nicks in their game. So, give me Tampa Bay.
I'm going to take the Titans.
Gunner's taking the Titans. All right. So we have a difference right there. Super cool. All right. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Look at that. We have a bird bowl this week. We have Taylor Heineke. I really like him on the Falcons. I know that they lost last week. But I do like the Falcons. I like a lot of the guys on their team. I feel like they can win games even though they're not like super stacked with talent. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray's back this week, but they're still a terrible team. Don't forget, the only good players on the team is like Budda Baker, and I think he's still injured. I don't think Kyler Murray being back is going to make a difference, so I'm going to take Atlanta personally here, but who knows? Maybe he'll be good, but Modern Warfare 3 is coming out, so I wouldn't count on it. Give me the Falcons.
I'm also taking the Falcons.
All right. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Who would have thought the Lions would be better than the Chargers after seeing how Justin Herbert's been off these past couple of years? The Chargers won. They beat the Jets by a pretty convincing score in prime time on a Monday night game. Their defense was able to stop the Jets' terrible offense. Good for you. The Lions, hot team. Hot team. I think they're the better team than the Chargers, but you know what? Give me my upset. Give me the Los Angeles Chargers over the Detroit Lions.
That is an interesting upset. I'm taking the Lions steamrolling.
I'm just feeling the Chargers this week. I don't wish any downfall on the Lions. I love them. I love Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and all that, but give me the Chargers. All right, next up we have the New York Giants taking on the Dallas Cowboys. This is a Tommy DeVito-led squad. First, you had Tyrod Taylor going on IR, and now Daniel Jones tore his ACL. He is out for this season. Whatever. Tommy DeVito is going to be the starter, so I wouldn't expect a lot from this team. From an offense that's just been struggling all year, a team that's been struggling all year, how did Brian Dable go from being coach of the year to on the hot seat? It's beyond me. The Cowboys, I mean, they're the Cowboys. I know that they gagged when the game fell right into their laps against Philadelphia last week, but this is a no contest to me. Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys are going to steamroll.
Yeah, pretty easy pick there. All right, next up we have the Washington Commanders versus the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks lost bad last week. Like, they got whooped by Baltimore. But Baltimore's a good team. I get it, but it shouldn't have been that big of a loss. Yikes. Washington, they're not good. They won last week over the Patriots, so that's something. How is Sam Howell second in passing yards? That's so weird. Is it garbage yards?
Garbage yards.
I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, Washington, I feel like they can keep it close with only the Eagles, really. They have talent on their team, but they're definitely missing Montez Sweat and Chase Young right now. Give me not the Eagles, the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks.
I will also take the Seahawks.
All right. Next up on Sunday Night Football, we have the New York Jets taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. If we see the Raiders in primetime again, I'm going to lose it. However, I do like Antonio Pierce as the interim head coach. They won last week, so, good for him getting his first win in his first week. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he does and where the Raiders organization goes from there. I like Aiden O'Connell. I'd love to see more from him, especially since he's so good in the preseason. The Jets are bad. Their offense is really bad. Zach Wilson is not playing well against only the Bills, I think, is when they're good. I mean, I like Robert Saleh a lot. He's trying a lot with this team, and their defense is still a good squad. At the end of the day, though, I don't know who I should pick. Gunnar, who do you got?
I am going to take the Raiders. Zach Wilson, Robert Saleh said he pleads the fifth on benching him, so not good.
You know what? I got the Jets defense in this one. Give me the New York Jets for this one. Why not? We'll just spice it up. All right. And finally, on Monday Night Football, we have the Denver Broncos. What? Versus the Buffalo Bills. The Bills lost last week. Their offense is not clicking. Their defense is definitely missing a lot of those players that they've lost to injury. It's just sad watching the Bills slowly die. Another team that's already dead is the Denver Broncos. They did beat the Chiefs before they went on bye last week, so that was cool. Props to them for beating the Chiefs. I know Broncos fans have been waiting a long time for that. At the end of the day, though, the Broncos are not a good team and the Bills are not a great team, but I think Buffalo's better. So give me the Buffalo Bills in this one.
No way the Broncos won 2 in a row. 2 good/decent teams. Take the Bills.
I feel like the Bills are good enough. And with that, that'll do it for this week. We only have a couple differences, but it should be interesting to see where it goes. If you guys have any upsets of your own, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you guys next week.